Well, hey guys, I figured I would share one of my videos, one of my flights that I had this year. This is actually the second flight of the season. Unfortunately, trying to find time to line up with the weather and other factors. Man, it's just it's a challenge to get up in the air. But usually in the morning or in the PM, when the sun is rising or coming back down towards the horizon, that's when the air is the smoothest and it's the most enjoyable. And what you're seeing me doing here is I'm getting ready for flight. I've got the motor running and wings all laid out. I'm getting my toggles in my hand, so I'm able to hold a little pressure on the brakes so we can lift off. I'm looking up that Crystal there, and she's got some video from her perspective. So yeah, as you give it power, that wing's gonna grab air and it's gonna start to rise, and it's gonna go through the prop wash. Once you get through the prop wash there, you're watching for that wing to come over your head, and that's one of the reasons I have that mirror on the front there, because I can kind of get a visual of the wing in that mirror, and it tells me what it's doing. So not only this, it's just a good wing. I think this wing probably comes up a little easier than some. It's an Air Design. I can't remember the size right now, but it's a hike model. But it just seems to come up fairly easy. I've seen others that don't come up as well. They've got the different characteristics, but this one flies really floaty and steady. So I do like the wing. But as soon as that wing comes up and I'm looking in that mirror, I'm going to turn that wheel of the Trike and I'm going to aim it in the direction of the wing is traveling. All right, so that's one of the things you're taking off. You're kind of victim to the wind. You could probably take off not into the wind. It becomes a challenge. Okay, so if you want a successful launch, you find that you aim that Trike into the wind, and that wing is going to find it for you. As long as you follow the same path with your Trike, before those lines get nice and tight and you're actually suspended from the wing, you got to match the direction, and that's the secret to take off. So fairly easy to do once you get used to it. It becomes a habit, I think. Anyway, a couple of reasons for this flight though today. This being the second flight of the season, I had actually changed out the carburetor. This machine, this F33 Monster Hirth, came with a Bing 84 carburetor on it, and getting parts for that it's not impossible. You can, they're out there, but the Mikunis I've had good luck with, and they're readily available. You can get many parts of Mikuni. So I decided to change this carburetor out to a Mikuni 34 millimeter carburetor. I'm giving it a try, and surprisingly, it right out of the box it was running very well. It's a Mikuni VM34 168 for those who wish to know. But the reason one of the reasons I changed it out was right there where I'd want to fly at cruise, right? So I'm not gaining altitude. I'm not losing altitude. Level flight. It was just a challenge. So and it was. I'd get a burble, right? So I'd get like a flat spot, call it. I don't know if it was run rich or lean, but I ended up moving the needle the clip all the way to the leanest part of the needle, which is the top position. And she ran the best there, but it just didn't run perfect. So I decided, instead of playing with that Bing, let me try a brand new carburetor. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm flying around the field right now, and I'm just making sure I'm not going to have any major issues. And it was running fairly well, but it isn't running as good as it was before I put the snorkel on it and I got up in the air. So I do have some more testing to do. I originally changed out the taper of the needle, so I had a little richer, a little thinner profile there, transitioning from low side circuit to high side circuit. And the reason I did that is because if you punch the throttle, she'd want to die, kind of like it was lean. But here today, I'm going to find out that I think it's actually rich. I think the thing's running a little rich, so I'm going to have to do some more testing. But right there at that where I want to produce my level flight, it tends to get a little burbly. It runs a little rougher. Okay, so I picked up RPMs. It starts on the first pull. It's otherwise the carburetor is working very well. So, but yeah, I was lucky to have Crystal there to get me. That's where we get that picture from. So, all right, the audio is going to come back. The main audio from the cockpit here, or from the seat, and it sounds loud. So I'll try to reduce the sound in the video here. It's not really that loud from the outside. These are one of the quieter sounding paramotors. Yep, we're gonna take a flight, and we're gonna leave the landing zone here, the field, and we're gonna head out. All right. Well, those of you that are wondering, I know it looks like you're bouncing around a lot up there, and basically what that is the DJI Osmo Action I'm using. I've got it set on horizon balancing, I believe, and so what it's doing is it's keeping that horizon, level, and so you're seeing all the tilting and stuff that I'm doing, but it just makes it look a lot worse than it really is. It actually feels a lot smoother than what that looks like, so I might actually change that the next flight up. But I thought you might be wondering. It's typically on a right time of day. It's a fairly smooth flight. You might get some air density differentials. You might hit pockets of a little bit of gusts and stuff, and when that happens, especially the first few times, that will they might startle you, but you get used to it. It's not really as bad as it looks here in the video, so I wanted to mention that. Alright, so yeah, right about here I kind of stopped climbing. I do have a climb rate of about 1 to 2 feet a second, but yeah, I'm comfortable. You know, what I'm looking for is, you know, just an out. Should the motor go out, you know, we will be gliding down. So I'm always keeping a field in sight, you know, potential landing zone. But we've slowed down a little bit. We're basically trying to maintain level flight here. And up in front of us is Long Acre Farms, and it'll come into view a little clearer here in a second. But when we get up there, there was a surprise coming out of the field. Oh, and just so you know, yeah, I'm about 900 feet above my origin. The app I'm using is called PPG Flight, and it gives you your climb rate, your MSL, and your you know, above origin altitudes. It'll give you your ground speed. And I'm traveling about 25, 26, 27 miles per hour, and we've traveled about 3.5 miles so far. I don't know if you guys are making this out, but right there at the end of this long building I was just looking at, there was a paramotor getting ready to launch a foot launcher. So we'll get a better view of that paramotor in a little bit. So right there, I carry a radio with me when I'm up there, and it's proven to be useful. But for whatever reason, last couple trips, a lot of noise. And this day, I had tried out a little stubby antenna, thinking that that one little quarter wave antenna would probably actually help me out. It did not. But I have, from this position before, reached home, which was over 20 miles away, just with a handheld radio. So, yeah, right there, I noticed I noticed my trimmers weren't set even, so I was doing a little bit more turn to the right. And that's typical of these motors, because the prop spins one direction. Ultimately, you get a slight right turn. But I don't get a lot of it. But today I did, and I think when I looked down at or looked up at my right trimmer, I noticed that it was not on the same mark as the left trimmer. So I think that's what was going on there. And then also you'll hear the burbling come back here as I get in that throttle range. Right there, I'm checking my fuel level. I've got a mirror attached to the throttle control, and with that mirror, I just bring it up and I can see back at the fuel tank. Alright, so you should be able to see him now. Here comes the paramotor that had just launched. And I reach out to give a wave. They're still climbing. So I'm thinking they're not making the attempt to let go of their brake toggles yet. And we'll meet up with them later, but I never did get a visual confirmation from fellow paramotor. So, you know, right after seeing the fellow paramotor, I had made plans to, you know, make kind of a little bit of a trek, and motor seems to be fine. I don't know, it doesn't seem like it wants to stall on me. It's just got that little burble going on when I'm trying to reach level flight. So my plan is I'm just going to fly over some familiar territory. I do know I've got a buddy out here. I fly over to his place, and I also fly over what I call the farm, and do a circle around it and come back. And you know, in the PM when I'm coming back towards the west, of course, the sun's in your eyes. So one of the things I do wear is a pair of ski goggles. What they do is they're cutting down that glare for me substantially. They work out really well. I do have a helmet on. Not that I think I need one, but it does assist me in carrying the headset that I wear. So that gives me, if I want to plug something into that, I will have. It's good for the radio. It gives me a way to communicate with others. Other than that, it's fairly comfortable. I don't feel cramped up there. You can take your hands off the brake toggles, and and the machine will kind of probably do a little bit of a right turn. You can correct that with those trimmers, like I said. So you just pull a little bit more trim on the side that you want to slow down. So anyway, I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit, and we'll catch it back. Long anchors. So you know, interesting. You do sometimes see a lot of things, and one of those things is usually deer. You know, so on this day I did notice some deer, more than probably usual, but usually in this field here, especially, I usually catch a lot of deer hanging out. Not today. Today we didn't see any down there. Didn't stare too long. I didn't stick around. About ready to make my turn back. It's beautiful up there, especially on a hot day in the summer. There's nothing better than going for a ride in the evening like that. It'll cool you off. I've never really gotten too cold. You get into towards the fall, and your hands might get cold up there. The first things to go. No, it feels really good. So just a good time. Fairly relaxing once you get over the heebie-jeebies of flying through the air above the ground. Alright, so getting ready to fly the field. I'm going to come down the strip there at Long Acres. So I'm gonna come over, you know, to the right here, just to the north, and then, you know, line up with the runway. And I was playing with the radio. I had some heavy squelch. It's typical when you get up in the air like that. The squelch picks up drastically, and sometimes it can fill your ears with a lot of static. So I was playing with that. But I look over, and sure enough, there we go. There's Mr. Paramotor again. So this time I kind of hang with him a little bit, and it should be some pretty good video. Oh, also I don't know. I make a turn here, I believe. Yeah. So if you look down there, that maze looks like a balloon. Crystal pointed it out to me. Pretty cool. Yeah, so for those that don't know, you Yeah, as you bring on more throttle, what that really is doing is it's just giving you more lift, right? So it changes the attitude of your motor in relation to your wing, and it ultimately makes you climb. You don't really go faster, right? But by setting the trimmers, you can actually pick up a little bit more speed. I think my wing typically, I'm running about 24 to 29 miles per hour, and maybe 30s, low 30s, fully trimmed out. There's not a huge difference in speed, so it's sometimes depending on what wing somebody's flying, it might be a little bit difficult to stay the same speed. But right here we seemed pretty well matched. Okay, so yeah, I'm just getting my trimmer set. I'm heading back. I'm starting to do my climb. Get up to that safe, what I feel is safe altitude, keep some fields in sight, and I'm gonna head her back to my point of origin. And as my hands were off the toggles there, as you can see, it did pull me to the right quite a bit. So now I've got to do some recorrecting. But at this point, I'm heading back into the sun, so we'll bring it back up to the point of where we're approaching the field.
buggy coming back to point of origin.
Alright, so part 103, ultralight aircraft, is what governs paramotoring. And, you know, what you see me doing here is that, you know, throughout the video, you notice that I'm not really flying over congested areas, heavy populated areas. That is one of the rules. So, airports, major airports, you know, you are to stay away, I think it's 5 miles. And of course you want to pay attention to the current NOTAMs that are active in your area. But, you know, otherwise you can fly just about anywhere. I do use strobes. That's for me. I want to make sure other people see me. I'm more of an obstruction to other aircraft and other things. So that's important to me. But yeah, safety. You know, I'm trying to, you know, stay up high, go for a nice flight, and yeah, and return back to base. So, and here we are, about ready to come back in over the Harley-Davidson field. And a note here, I am returning to the field in the opposite direction in which I took off, and I know that the wind should still be approximately out of the northwest. It might have shifted to out of the north. And you can land a trike, you know, when you're not full launching. It's a little easier to land because you don't have to necessarily be right into the wind. But, you know, that's favorable. You want to be if you can. So I'm actually coming around the field, and I'm going to land approximate direction of what I think the wind actually is. There is a windsock over here today, and I did not see it moving the whole time I was on the field. So I'm thinking that the windsock was caught up. I should have walked out there and you know, attempted to fix it, make sure it was working properly, but I did not. setting up for final now, getting ready to come in for that landing. Typically, you're going to cut the motor for safety, but it is also probably one of the most beautiful points of the flight, where you just kind of come in to the field, wait till you're about head height, and just pull on some slight brake, nice and evenly, and get a nice cushy landing. Guys, let's see, it was a 51, about 52-minute flight I did this day. The distance traveled was just about 22 miles. For you guys that are wondering, but average speed 24.8 miles an hour, and just a good PM flight. And anyhow, appreciate you guys sticking around, if you did, to check out the whole video.
Touchdown.